right, welcome to our Keep Going series. How's your Keep Going going? Fantastic. Well, if you don't know what Keep Going is all about, this is our vision focus for this year. And we're just spending a few weeks to look at some empowering truth for your journey. All of us are on a journey. And we trust that all these truths, that if you've missed any, catch them up. But they will really help you, strengthen you on the journey and the call that God has on your life this year and for what you will face this year. So our scripture is as follows. Let's read that together from Galatians chapter 6, verse 9 and 10. Let's read. Let us not become tired or weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not lose heart. Therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good to all people. Now, for some of you, keep going just means so you need some faith, grit, perseverance to get through some stuff. How many of you facing some stuff you need to get through? All right. Okay, so that's not too bad, actually. You guys are doing pretty well out there, all right? Anyone else? You got to get through some stuff, and I just want to encourage you. Your biggest breakthrough and blessing is just on the other side of your current battle. Press through. Trust God for strength to go through some stuff. But this for us is not just about going through some stuff. It is about keeping going with the good news. All right, this is it. We have some good news to share. The good news of Jesus Christ is still worth sharing. All right, the stuff that's changed, the truth and the experience of God that's changed us is worth sharing. And if you are here today and you're not a believer and you're not a Christian and you come here and you're wondering what this is all about, I just want to say to you, we want to get better at sharing with you what has really changed our lives. This is it. All right, we want to get better at it. We want nobody to miss out. I mean, there may be all sorts of reasons why people do not believe what I and most of us here believe. But may one of those reasons not be that we have not told them. May one of those reasons not be that we have not given them an opportunity to hear and to respond to the good news of Jesus. And this is our goal. We want to share this year. We want to give more people than ever before the opportunity to hear and respond to the amazing life-changing message of Jesus. Both personally, that's you, as a believer and us as a church, and come on this journey with us. This is what we want to keep going with. So we've been looking at a few truths to help us on this journey, and last week we looked at this question. The text says, do not grow tired of doing good. And there is a temptation, there is a culture of tiredness. We have this problem of tiredness, and we have this word, acronym, THAT, all right? What does that stand for? Tired all the time, all right? There is this phenomena of being tired all the time, just in general. And we got asked this question last week, what really makes us tired? And the answer is not your job or your ministry or your homework or your assignments at university. The thing that makes us most tired is when we carry things that we can't carry, then when we are trying to keep a law that we cannot keep, instead of walking in the amazing grace of God. So I want to encourage you, come out of the law. Don't let anybody add stuff to you that is not that Jesus took away from you, and step into the amazing grace of God. There is a new grace for you this year if you will receive it. There is not just grace to save you, but there is grace to empower you on this keep going journey. And I encourage you, grab a hold of that. So let's keep going, my grace, and with amazing grace, because this world desperately needs grace. Just tell somebody, keep going by grace and with grace. Now, today we want to look at another challenge. What else makes us tired? All right, this text says that it warns us, do not grow tired of doing good. For in due season you will reap. This is the promise, you will reap. But there is this. I want to look at another positioning that makes us tired. And this has everything to do with the context. We see in the context over here, we're going to read that in its full in a moment. But in the beginning of this chapter, this is what it says. You see these two phrases come out, and these are the two we want to look at today. It says that we should carry each other's burdens. Everyone say burdens. And each one of us should carry our own load. So we want to look at this today as and recognize what's making you tired, what will cause you to quit. And here's the truth. Your keep going will be greatly affected by what you carry and what you cast off your life. I mean, that's simple, right? If you want to keep going, if you want to persevere, what you carry, right, with you will greatly determine how you can keep going. Many people can't keep going because they're carrying the wrong stuff. They're carrying too much. They just got a weight on them, and they just, oh, okay, this is just wearing me out. And what you carry will either weigh you down or cause you to win in life, right? What you carry will either just sap your strength, or it will give you strength. Now, you might be saying, Wolfi, how can what I carry give me life? Well, listen, if you're going to go on any significant journey in life, you've got to take some stuff with you. You want to climb Mount Everest, you ain't going there with nothing. Right? You might be getting to the top and it's getting difficult, and you think, oh, I need to cast off some stuff. And you look at your oxygen cylinder and says, I just need to travel lighter. That's a stupid decision. All right? You're not going to get, so don't be fooled into this idea that all I need to do to keep on going is to chuck stuff off me. You're going to learn today that it's not just about what you chuck off your life, it's also what you put on your life that'll help you keep going. So we want to learn what to carry and how to cast off. Now, we do carry a lot of stuff in life, right? This man over here, let's just have a look at what and why and how we carry stuff. All right, are you ready? All right, what do you think? This guy is obviously at the Olympics. Why is he carrying stuff? I don't know. Well, he's trying to prove himself, maybe. He's trying to win something. He's got this competitive thing that some other people have that I don't have. This dude over here, I don't know if he's actually is carrying something, but he looks good, right? I mean, he just looks like he's about to do something. He's got some attitude. All right. This guy here is actually, I think this is the heaviest weight ever. Do they call this deadlift? I think this is like 6 Hummer tires. Okay, this dude is strong. Right. 8. I was just checking. You guys were actually concentrating today. All right, this dude. All right, this car is obviously not carrying its load, right? I mean, this is just. I don't know. Do some of you feel like that? All right, you got too much stuff you've added there. And then, how about this one? All right, this is strange things people carry in life. Okay, this is a Chinese man, and they apparently it's a thing in this part of China where they try and carry cars on their heads. So I'm not sure if that is a thing but that is not Photoshop. No. I checked that out. I'm a pastor. I'm telling the truth, right? All right. There's someone in the house. Go, Abby. Sean, are you in the house, man? Now, Sean, you're not just looking at that thing. Now, listen, Sean never used to be like this, okay? I've known Sean since I had no permission to do this, but I knew him from this little scrawny kid, okay? But he's now a professional trainer, and he's good at his job, and he is seriously strong, okay? So I'm just saying to you, you can grow, okay? As we've said many times in this house, I mean, it's inevitable that we're going to grow older, but the question is, will we grow up? Will we keep growing stronger? You can grow strong. You can grow to lift more, to carry more this year than we've ever carried before. And Sean is proof of that, okay? This is another picture here. This is Ali and I. If you've ever heard our 2 backpacks and a vision story, well, here they are, right? And mine is not the pink one, okay? Be bold, yeah. I am secure in my manhood, but not as so secure to get a pink one. But anyway, actually, yeah. Let's read this text in context. You know, can I just encourage you, when you're reading your Bible, don't just read verses and tweet tweet verses, just read in context, okay? What's the letter about? Who's it to? What it's about? We understand the book of Galatians is a letter written to the Galatians who got saved by amazing grace. Their lives were radically transformed by receiving the grace of God by faith. And then these other people came along and said, hey, yeah, that's fantastic. You're saved by grace, but you now got to start keeping the law. And this is what Paul is writing to them about, saying, hey, unravel this. Don't do that, okay? You foolish Galatians, you started well. Who hindered you? Who stopped you from running in this amazing truth that you've received? Who added something to your life and you gladly took it? Now in chapter 6, I just want to read these few verses and we look at the burdens and loads. This is what it says. Brothers and sisters, if one of you is caught in a sin, you who live by the Spirit should restore that person gently or forgivingly, right? So there are those around us, and I don't know, sometimes we are the ones that are caught in sin, right? And we need people to help us. Other times, others around us are struggling and stumbling, and Paul says, help them gently, all right? Because the temptation is that we don't help them gently or faith or patiently. We don't help them, we just lay down the law. Right? This is the nature of man. When somebody's doing something wrong, you want to lay down the law because it's always nicer when you're strong and the other one's weak. Just get someone down so you can feel better about yourself. He says, don't do that. Rather carry the other person's burdens. We look at that at the end of this message. In this way, you fulfill the law of Christ. The law of Christ is that in Christ, the law of sin and death you've been set free from the law of sin and death, and now you live in Jesus. Then it says, for if anyone considers himself or herself to be something when he's nothing, he deceives himself. Let each person examine his own work. Right? Let all of us really have a good look in the mirror. And then we can take pride in ourselves alone and not compare ourselves with someone else. For each person will have to carry his own load. So in context, they're setting up, 2 verses later, is this, don't grow tired of doing good. I want us just to look at this load, casting off burdens and carrying loads. And when you can get this, I think it'll really, really help you to keep going with good news this year. And to keep going, you're going to have to learn this tension, this thing about casting off burdens and carrying your own load. Now, I do feel a tension here, actually, as I look at this. In one sense, I just want to preach to us about Jesus who took our burdens away. Some of you really need to hear that today. You need to hear the message of the power of the cross because you are burdened with stuff. And we're going to explain what a burden is. You've got this burden sitting on you and you need to hear how to get rid of it. You're desperate. Some of you came in here today and you're thinking, oh, this is the last chance. I'm desperate. I need to get something off my life. But then on the other hand, there are those of you who need to take up your load or you need to see your load in a new way. And I'm going to put on my backpack over here. In fact, here's something here. Before you put something on, you've got to take something off. That was worth coming to church for right there. Not the body. The principle. In order... Keep going. I need that encouragement too. Put off the old before you put on the new. Sometimes we want to put on more stuff, and the reason we weigh down is because we haven't taken anything off. All right, so take off whatever you need to take off, and then now we're going to look at burdens and loads, and I'm not telling you this is a load or a burden yet. Strap in well, okay? If it's a burden, don't strap it in well. But to keep going, you have to learn to cast off burdens and you have to learn to pick up your load. And if you can do that well, if you get a revelation in the next 10 minutes or so about what these two are, and you think about how they apply to your life, and you put your faith in Jesus, your keep going is going to be a whole lot better. Are you ready? All right, let's have a look at Burdens and loads. Burdens are the stuff that are on your life that you can do nothing about. You don't have the strength, the ability to get rid of them. They are on you, and you in your own ability, strength, they are just weighing you down. You just say, the devil binds burdens onto you, right? There's stuff on you. And load on the other side, that word load is the word portion. And it really means the freight of a ship, or a ship has been designed to carry a certain load. Does that make sense? You know, if it's a small ship, it can take a certain load. If it's a huge ship, it can take a bigger load. Right? And by the way, a ship is safer when it's carrying the right load, not when it's empty. All right? A ship is safer with ballast. A ship doesn't balance. You know, many times we think, I must live a balanced life. You don't need to live a balanced life. The only time you need balance is when you're sitting on the fence. What you need is ballast. You need something in you that holds you upright. You need something in you, then that is the portion you carry. That is the load you carry. When that is right, you can go through a lot of stuff. Right? If you're just traveling too light, every wind and storm is just going to blow you all over the place and upside down. So let's have a look a little bit more specifically what these burdens and what these loads may be. All right, here we go. So burdens, dead works, all right? Dead works, good works. Dead works are things that you do by which you're trying to impress God, all right? You're doing them because you think if I do, then God's going to say, well done. No, what you want to live in is doing good works, which is what you do because of who you are. You are a son, you are a daughter of God, and that's why you're not serving to prove who you are, you're just expressing who you are. You are a son in the house, you are a daughter in the house, so you carry some stuff. You do something because it's been done. All right? That burden, if you're living with burdens, you've got a slave mentality, or you're living like a slave. I'm just slaving away. You're in legalism, okay? The law has a much greater place in your life than love. Sin, guilt, shame, condemnation, these phrases, these words, these are the things that bind things to you, and they just weigh you down because and until you come to Jesus, you don't know, there's no way to get rid of them. Okay? It's marked by this idea of duty. I must. Right? And a burden just is this is my lot to carry. I must do this. This is my duty. I am a slave. Sin is ruling over me. You feel the condemnation. You feel the guilt. You feel the shame. You don't know what to do about it. On the other hand, when we look at what a load is, it's what you do, as I said, as a son, as a daughter, as an heir. I'm not just a outsider here. I'm an insider. I am part of the body of Jesus Christ. I am a child of the living God. That's amazing. This is the house of God. I get to be a part of it. You do it by grace, empowered by grace. You have a joy in what you're doing. You do it according to your design. I said just now the word means portion. It's what you designed to carry. When you're carrying your load, you feel like this is a privilege. I don't have to do this. I get to do this. Paul says, I have the privilege to proclaim this good news to the Gentiles. He said, and it's my privilege to do this. I don't have to do it. I get to do it. And I'm doing it not in my own strength, but I'm doing it in God's strength. I sense that as I sign up to it, God is in this thing with me. He gave me this load. He designed me. He created me like this. And when I'm carrying my load, I have the strength. I have everything I need from God, and He's designing me to do what I'm doing. Now, as you look at that, do you notice any burdens in your life? And how's your load carrying doing? Now notice here, it says in the text, each one should carry their own load, right? Number one, don't carry somebody else's load. Don't be like a David, or be like a David who, when they try to put Saul's armor on him, he said, "No, I can't do it. This is not my load. This is not the way I'm wired. This is not my stuff." Okay, so we're going to try and find our own load, your load. God has something for you to carry. It's also not no load, right? Because as I said just now, if you're traveling light, you're making yourself vulnerable. But here's what I think your load to carry is, and I want you to think about this. It's opposite to when you move on to this burden side, which is when you're just living for comfort, for convenience as a consumer. Listen, you were not created to be a consumer. It's just not fulfilling. The load you want to find, and again, I'm not going to give you a list of things you can do. Of course, there's loads of amazing things you can do in this church, in this city, for the kingdom, all right? Maybe I'll give you a few hints if you're looking for them. But here's what I think, a load that will not crush you, if you're in your design zone, this should not wear you out. This should not cause you to get tired. This will energize you when you're running in your lane, all right? First of all, your commission. We talk about the Great Commission. Go into all the world, make disciples of all nations. This is this responsibility, this calling, this privilege we have of sharing Jesus with other people if you're a Christian. And I think we should carry that, right? You shouldn't cast that off, right? I know sometimes if you're on this side and it's a duty, it might feel like, oh, I've got to share Jesus with my neighbors, with everyone in the tube, with my workmates, with my student friends, with my schoolmates, and it just becomes, no, that's not the way, the commission is on this side. It's a privilege. But you need to carry, you can't cast it off. I believe every one of us as believers, as followers, as disciples should be living as ambassadors of Jesus. You've been commissioned. Represent me in the world. Tell others about me. Shine your light. And remember in our text it says do good, right? Remember that phrase, do good to all? That word do good is just to do attractively good. It's to let something that's on the inside of you shine out of you in a beautiful way, in an attractive way. Don't know about you, but that's how I want to live. Church, that's how we live, right? So our commission is to represent Jesus. That is not a burden. That is a load for you and every one of us as believers to carry. Is that cool? Secondly, I think our calling is not a burden. It's a load. It's when you hear the Father directing you, saying to you, this is what I want you to do with my life. This is what I'm calling you to do. This is where I've put you. I've put you in the greatest city in the world. That is not a burden. That is an amazing privileged load. This backpack that I've got on here represents my calling. Right? This backpack is what Ellie and I did when we heard God's call to the nations and we said, we will go. And we had all the obstacles, but when I look at this just represents, this is maybe big, but it's not weighing me down, friend. All right? All the stuff that I sense God's called me to, and that is not burdensome that's going to wear me out. There is a way to run in God's calling and not grow weary. And if you feel you are running and you're doing what God's called you to do and you are getting tired, then that is a different problem. You're doing it in your own strength, and you need to switch from burden mentality to say, God, help me, give me strength to carry my load. Your contribution. I would say this is our serving. This is when the scripture says in Ephesians 4, from Him, when every part does its share, it causes the body to grow together in love. You have a part to play. You have a part. God's shaped you for significance. God's shaped you as a member of His church. And when you serve Him in that shape, that is not a burden. That is a load. Someone say, ouch. Right? So I just want to encourage you. Think about the loads you're carrying at the moment. Have you signed up to the commission of Jesus if you're a believer? If you're not, you have an out. You don't have to do that. Right? What about a calling? Are you in the call, or are you stepping away from it? And again, I would just say, spend the next couple of days, weeks, just say, God, I want to be clear on what you've called me to and where. Because if you're running from that, I think you're going to get tired. I think you're going to get tired. You know, and often we run from that because we're afraid. You're afraid of where's the money going to come from. You're afraid of what my friend's going to think of. You know, some of you, us in the church world, I often say to pastors that we're training up, I say, listen, I know some of you think that being a pastor is like really cool, but that's in a very small world, okay? For most of my friends out there, when I'm paddleboarding or running or doing them, and they ask me the question, what do you do with your life? What do you do? And I say, I'm a pastor. They're like, what happened, dude? It's not like, wow, that's amazing. That's why you need to get your call from heaven and live for the audience of one. All right? And if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, to get some attention from people, whatever you are going to get tired. But when you position yourself correctly, wow, that changes everything. Think about your contribution. You know, is your serving wearing you out? Is it burdensome to you? Or is it a load that you carry gladly and say, God? And you know what? You can know when it's a load, when you're bringing God into it and you're doing it for God, when you're showing up and say, God, I'm here for you. Use me. When you position yourself like that, what you're carrying is an awesome load that God empowers you to do. You know, you might think contribution, I don't know, money. You might think, oh, can I really afford to give? Can I really afford to honor God with my tithe? Can I give? Can I sow? Yes, you can, if you see it as a load, a privilege. He's given you seed time, seed to eat, seed to sow and bread to eat. You know, sowing your seed is not a burden. It is a load. It's a joy. And when you sow it, it produces a great harvest. I guess I want to encourage you, think about it as we keep going. I want to encourage you, today, cast your burden and make a decision, a choice to carry your load. If you do this well, you're going to break into a new stride. You're going to get a second wind. Where you've been stumbling along, you're going to start walking, and then you're going to start jogging, and then you're going to start running. Some of you need to walk away from the fear of, if I step into this thing of God's call, if I start to serve, if I carry my load, it's gonna break me, and you retreat into comfort and convenience and just consuming. And I want to say to you, no, there is no strength in comfort and convenience and consumerism. There is it's when you step out on the water, when you say, here I am, God, that He shows up in amazing ways. And I pray for you, I pray for all of us that in this next season, we will begin to step into carrying our load in a new way, into the commission of Jesus, to say, here I am, Lord, use me to share your good news with my world, in your calling, to have a sense that God has you here for a purpose, and He's got a call and a purpose for your life. And into your contribution to say, God, if I'm bearing my talent, I'm gonna. Some of you, I just see this picture. Some of you going back to some places and digging up some of those talents you've hidden, you're dusting them off a little bit, watering a bit with the water of His Word, right? And say, God, here it is. Use it again. Because some of you have retreated. You've burnt out, so you've been used. You said once, "Use me, Lord," and then you complained, "Lord, they're using me." It's time to get back to God and say, use me, Lord. Use me, God. And friend, when you find that spot and you feel God meet you there, you break into a new stride in your life. You get a new sense of purpose. The thing that changed for me, one of the big things that changed for me when I became a Christian at the age of 18 was a sense of purpose for my life. And I pray that for you. Once that rises in your sense of significance, sense of I actually matter, it's huge, and I pray that for you. You know, practically, maybe you, and this is not like a serving team raising exercise at all, okay? We've got amazing serving teams, but there are amazing opportunities here. If you're looking for opportunities to carry your load, hey, the youth team you just saw up there, how awesome is that? All right, the kids team downstairs, they have more fun than we had. If you think this is fun, you should go down there every 3 weeks. It's amazing. Right? The team that sets us up, don't you think that's an awesome job? Come on, man, these guys are heroes in this house. And we've had more weddings out of the AV crew than any other crew, by the way. Because when you see how he serves, you might be interested. That's just for free. The hosting team, the foyer team, some of you have amazing gifts. And you just bring them and say, Lord, I'm going to carry my contribution, Lord. I'm going to make it happen. Speak to us. Speak to the team leaders. Speak to anybody if you want to get involved. We don't have any places to sign up for this. My encouragement is get to a place where you cast off your burden and you carry your load and see what God will do. Step into that place boldly this year. The Build Conference coming up, awesome opportunities there too. But hey, as we land this, just a phrase that you might have noticed in that text. It says it says carry one another's burdens. How do we carry other people's burdens? I've been telling you about casting off your burdens by coming to the cross. Okay. How do we carry other people's burdens? Well, maybe just two things that I think I want to encourage us to do for other people that we see around us that are just weighed down with burdens, guilt, shame, condemnation. Don't try to help them by giving them the law. But here's what we could do. We could give them good news about the great burden bearer. This is what Jesus does. Jesus took our sin upon him, our burden on him. On the cross, that's what he did. He says, cast your care on me. Why? Because he's carried it. He can do so. He's the one that can take it away from them and carry it. So what we want to do is we don't want to pick other people's stuff up and then destroy us. No, what the scripture says is help them. How do we help them? By introducing them to the great burden bearer. I want to do that for some of my friends, my neighbors this week. My colleagues should know the burden bearer. By intercession prayer, this is a big one I just want to emphasize. Intercession is this, when you're praying for somebody by standing with them together against what's coming against them. And I just want to encourage you, pray for some people that you know are burdened with sin and guilt and shame and separation from God. Begin to intercede. God hears our prayers. Jesus is the great intercessor. He's the one who wants a relationship with them more than I could ever want it. So I encourage you, maybe just put down a few people on a little list somewhere and say, God, I want to stand together with these people, these friends of mine, these neighbors, these colleagues, these classmates. I want to stand together with them against the stuff that is burdening them, against the stuff. Cut off something. Pray some violent prayers, not against them, but over their lives. Right? Cut off some stuff that's keeping them. I don't know about you, but I know too many people in my close circle that need some burdens lifted off their lives, that are being crushed by stuff that I just say, oh, if you could only believe in the burden bearer, if you could only put your faith in Jesus. I want to be stirred to pray like that. Maybe you want to do that too. Here's the good news. Jesus invites us all to come to him if you are burdened. He invites us all. He invites you to come to him today. He says, come, all you are weary and carry heavy burdens. If you're in that spot today, he's here to help you today. You can put your faith in him today. He says, I will give you rest. Take my yoke on you. Notice there's no yoke living. Okay, this is take my load. I've designed you for something. Let me teach you because I'm humble and gentle of heart, and you will find rest for your souls. Do you need to pray that today? Do you need to come to Jesus today? Why don't we stand together and come?